what happens when you snort crystal meth? I've snorted crystal meth before, and this is actually what happens to your brain when you do a rail of meth. And now, one of the things that people don't realize is actually doing a line of meth is one of the slower ways of ingesting it. A lot of times, IVing it or smoking it will hit your brain actually a lot quicker than snorting it does. But snorting it is actually super common because a lot of people will snort lines that they don't know what it is, and a lot of times it can be meth. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. So as soon as you do this rail of meth, you're going to have about 1200% more dopamine flooding through your brain-blood barrier, hammering your brain. So this is going to produce more dopamine than what normally like eating does or sleep does or any of the normal dopamine producing activities. Is going to create about 1200% more, which then increases the libido, it increases the energy, it decreases the need of sleep. Your brain is now flooded with dopamine. It's also very addictive because it's hitting that reward center. Now, one of the other things that you're also going to experience too is a spike in norepinephrine and also when it comes to your serotonin. So you're going to have a spike in both of these that can throw off a lot. That can throw off now the mood regulation. It can start the heating of your brain. Believe it or not, your brain does heat up on meth. Again, now when you are snorting it, this is happening a little bit slower than some of the other methods that people use it. I share the snorting side because I've snorted meth before. So now your brain is actually starting to heat up. There are dangers that come along to that. But with this norepinephrine spike, with the serotonin spike, now you're starting to have hallucinations. There's paranoia. That's where a lot of these different senses can come into play because of this massive spike all of a sudden. So you've just had more dopamine hit your brain than ever, 1200% more than the norm. And now you've had this other spike of these other two very powerful neurotransmitters when it comes to mood and regulating and audio hallucinations, all of this. Now, also, this does affect one of the cortex of the brain and one of the nodes of the brain. And when it affects those nodes in the cortex, it does throw off a lot more even. That is what adds even more to the paranoia that happens. And it just affects a lot of your judgments and displacements. That's where, people will say there's gateway drugs and stuff out there. I mean, gateway drugs essentially are something that will get you to use a substance, but man, the gateways are open when you start to impair any of your like frontal cortex lobes, those decision-making processes. You become obsessed and hyper-focused on the dopamine, so you're going to keep snorting more. And also because of how meth isn't like cocaine. It's not producing actually as much dopamine as cocaine does, so your brain doesn't shut down the production of dopamine, it keeps producing it. Now, another challenge is that because it's producing so much dopamine, it's also going to suck out all your serotonin. It can drain your serotonin essentially dry. There's only so much neurotransmitter essentially that you build in a day, and serotonin is produced in the stomach. So afterwards is where a lot of the fidgeting, just the hallucinations, the self-harm, the anger, the paranoia, all of that can come into play. The flood of dopamine is where that hyper focus comes into play. So you have just a lot going on in your brain when you do a rail of cocaine or a rail, of crystal meth that you don't realize. It's not like cocaine where it's just giving you pure big mood energy. This is giving you just paranoia, it's visuals, it's audios, it's physical hallucinations. It's giving you that rush and that flood. It can increase libido tremendously. Your brain goes into a reward process mode where it's just looking for constant reward through the dopamine system. So snorting crystal meth is extremely dangerous. It also does present the dangers of the permanent nose damage that you can get from meth. Meth can also cause permanent brain damage. It can cause permanent damage to your cognitive functions, to your mood, and to a lot. I mean, if you've ever seen anybody who's gotten sober off a lot of meth, you know who has brain damage and doesn't. Their brain is not firing as it should. And there's a lot of memory loss there, and it's a lot when it comes to that cognitive functions, because that's the serotonin side that has a permanent damage. But when it comes to your brain and it comes to snorting this, your nose is damaged. I mean, it cuts off oxygen flow to your nose so you can get the deviated septum, the bloody nose, the ulcers in your nose. It's not a safe way to take meth. A lot of times people are like, okay, they don't smoke meth because they don't want the vapors, because the vapors are very toxic. You don't want to blow out an artery, or you don't want to IV it, so hey, I'm just going to do a rail of it. That is not safe ingestion. Meth itself is a very dangerous drug, and it is something out there that I do say it steals your soul. I mean, if you have experience in this, comment down below. The more that we comment and share, the more that people realize how dangerous substances are, that this isn't a joke. Like, this is permanent stuff. This is permanent damage that we get, and that's the crappy thing about it. But the one thing I will say is also this, in realizing that there's no right or wrong way to getting sober. People are looking for like the right way to get sober, and that's not out there. It's your way to get sober, whether it's going to inpatient treatment or outpatient treatment. Go to rehab. Find Recovery's tagged down below. Amazing Rehab. Download Sunflower Sober. That's tagged down below. Dude, that's a game changer for a lot of people. 24-hour support. Get with a therapist, a doctor, a psychiatrist. Get on the right meds. You're going to go through a lot of depression when it goes through withdrawals. Going to an AA meeting, going to an NA meeting, having support. Man, do all of that and then some, but don't give up. For the one out there fighting through every single day, don't give up. It does get better and you are worth it.